Hello, White Sox fans. Welcome into the very first Sox On Tap postgame show of the 2021 season. It's Johnny Nani here with Tony Marchese, the same opening day crew from 2020. We're here to run it back, Tony, and unfortunately in the same tune.
Yes, we are, Johnny. And before we do that, man, crack 'em, buddy.
Tony, I couldn't wait. I had to crack mine before we got on. So, I see people coming in here, jumping in. Thank you for joining us here late night. I know it's 12:34 a.m. here Central Time in Chicago. So thank you to all of our listeners and followers that are tuning in right now. So winner died trying. Thanks for joining. First time here. Love to see that kind of stuff. Before we get into any of the game, obviously the White Sox drop a kind of heartbreaker here, 4-3 to the Angels on opening day. Before we do that, though, we need to mention our sponsor, Grandstand. So make sure you go into Grandstand for all of your Chicago sports merchandising needs. They are our new partnership for this year. So you can check them out on social media at Grandstand Sox. And then you can also find them at grandstandsox.com. So make sure you're going and checking them out and getting all of your White Sox gear and Chicago sports gear from them. And of course, Sox On Tap is presented by On Tap Sportsnet. Go to ontapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. And then you can follow us on Twitter at Sox On Tap and at On Tap Sportsnet. So, Tony, man, this one's a heartbreaker. You're leading for most of the game. Comes down to the wire here and basically you piss it away. Initial thoughts.
Initial thoughts, Johnny. I mean, first off, it's great to be back. It's another season of Sox On Tap post-game shows. I'm happy to be on the mic with you, breaking one down here. But, that was just not a great finish to what was kind of a promising start. I think you saw, shades of Lucas Giolito that you want to see in every single start that you get out of Giolito. You saw some good things out of Luis Robert. There's a lot that we're going to break down here, but definitely not the finish that you want for this White Sox team to start this year.
Yeah, no, I would agree, Tony. I mean, it's a little bit different tone than last year because there's a little bit of a different score discrepancy in that opener last year. But here, a little bit different feel to it tonight because, like I mentioned, leading for most of the game. I think that's what's the most painful here. And we'll get into the whole breakdown of how we got to that point. But some of my initial thoughts here early on. Lucas Giolito, to me, looked like he was picking up where he left off in the wild card series. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, my thoughts on that one, man. What I've got written down here is that Lucas Giolito in the first inning especially just looked absolutely fucking disgusting. He had that kind of ace mentality coming out there opening day. Really handled that first inning well. Those first few innings, actually, overall, Lucas Giolito's stuff was impressive. He was relying on that changeup, and it was getting the job done early on. He was the benefit, I think, Johnny, a little bit of an expanded strike zone tonight, and I think that kind of played a factor in the game for both teams here. There was some home plate umpire issues. I saw the robot tweets out tonight in full force, but Giolito getting the job done early, and I mean he walked off the mound in the first inning like an absolute badass, ready to take names. So really impressive stuff from Giolito tonight.
Yeah, I would agree, Tony. And then I know we're going to get to some of the stuff that's going to break down and get us all hot and bothered here. But I do want to point out a positive, and that is Yoan Moncada, 2 for 3 tonight. He's hitting the ball hard, and even that one he placed down the line, not the hardest hit ball, but still, I mean, I think everybody is. We just did our season preview show last night, and we had all projected Yoan Moncada to be the White Sox team MVP in our opinion. So I like that. That was good. And then also my other thought is Luis Roberts just built in the lab, man. Rips that double, steals third base with an absolutely great jump, and then scores on the pass ball. So I like what I saw from Luis Robert there. Maybe not his last at bat, but we'll get to that. Other than that, I mean, I guess this is where we get to the bad stuff, and that's why not challenge the Madrigal call at second when he's trying to steal in the 7th inning. Looked like he was clearly safe. Definitely the Tony La Russa, kind of talk already coming out because of that decision not to. And then obviously the 8th inning meltdown. That's what cost him the game. So, as we break into this one, like I mentioned, open the scoring, White Sox went up 2-0 with that Robert double, stolen third, and then scores on the pass ball there. So feeling pretty good early, Tone.
Yeah, we were feeling pretty good early, and I like that you bring up the Yohan Moncada stuff right off the bat here. Makes an impact early on in this game. Just getting on base, and I think that we're definitely going to see a different Yohan Moncada than we did last year. And the writing's on the wall here, man. Pretty decent spring. You see him in this game today. What did he finish? What was it 2 for 4, 2 for 3? But hard contact when Yohan Moncada swings the bat, Johnny, and that's what you're looking for out of him.
It's not fully on display yet. We're not going to see until we get more games under the belt here and maybe even a couple months in, but it just looks like the energy level is higher. Do you agree?
Yeah, the energy level is absolutely higher for him. I think that's going to be a thing to watch. I mean, even before you saw him have that impact last year from COVID-19, there were some questions about Yohan Moncada's game. There's been questions about his toughness. There's been questions about is he dogging it at certain points in time. He is a guy that tends to come up lame after a hard play 90% of the time, and people can construe that whichever way they want to. But I think definitely with what you saw tonight, with what you've seen so far this spring, his intensity level is definitely up there comparative to what you saw last year.
Yeah, I would agree. So as we move through kind of the scoring significant events here, Tony, in the top of the fourth, Yohan Moncada hits a 1-out double down the left field line, the placement one, like I'd mentioned. Grandal walks after that, and then Lurie grounds out, advances the runners, so you got 2 outs, and then Luis Robert flies out in the first pitch. Unfortunately, we're probably going to be seeing a lot of this because he's so aggressive.
Yeah, and I mean the aggression is something that we've talked about with a number of players who've come here over the last few years, and there is something to be said about a hitter who is being aggressive at the plate, and you don't want to take that away from them. But again, this is the type of result that you can expect sometimes out of a player who's just trying to push it just a little bit too much.
Yeah, a good point there. So the White Sox don't score in the top of the fourth, and the Angels would tie this one up in the bottom of the fourth. It was Trout with a 2-out walk. Rendon walked following him, and then Upton hits an RBI single. So that's a 1-1 tie. Not too concerned at this point. You knew one run probably wasn't going to get it done at the end of the day anyway. So as we move through then the top of the fifth, Timmy hits a 2-out single, and then who tabbed Adam Eaton? I put the tweet out literally probably about 5 minutes before it happened, Tony, from Sox on Tap. Who tabbed Adam Eaton to have the first White Sox home run and a pull shot at that?
You're calling for it there, buddy. I mean,
What do you mean?
It's just Adam Eaton. You bring him back. I think we had some sort of meatball take about him doing some good shit this year at some point, but it's Adam Eaton. You have to love the response that you get out of White Sox Twitter after Adam Eaton is your first home run this season. You have to love it.
Speaking of Twitter response, Tony, I need to shout out Brian Billick here because I did not see this before. Maybe it's been more widespread use tonight, but this is the first time I saw it personally, and it was #WeEaton. I love that.
I do love that too. #WeEaton. I can get on board with that one. I could definitely get on board with that one.
So, apologies if that was someone else that originated that, but I saw it from Brian Billick first. So I want to, shout that out because we were feeling good at this point. White Sox up 3-0 in the top of the fifth. Mm-hmm. So as we go in, the Angels would get one back in the bottom of that inning. Stasi, 1-out solo shot. Lucas Giolito just got lit up a little bit there. But White Sox still have the lead at this point, 3-2. And then Giolito would eventually go in the next inning after getting 1 out in the sixth, 5 in a third for him tonight. And Trout was coming up then, and Hoyer came in. But as we round out Lucas Giolito's night, I think it's important to talk about him. 5 1/3, 2 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, which is nice. The overhits on that, 6.5 strikeouts, and 1 home run allowed, obviously. So overall thoughts on Giolito's performance tonight?
I mean, it's the only bet I won tonight, Johnny, was the Giolito strikeouts. I think his night was absolutely fucking impressive. You don't like to see him get pulled so early. I think we've talked about a lot on this show, the ability to shorten a game. And we can go into the bullpen management here. I'm not exactly going to, get too up in arms about the fact that you go to Hoyer and Bummer here, but you want to see Lucas Giolito go 7. I know he was upset that he didn't get through that inning, but overall, dude, Lucas Giolito, his stuff early on in this game was ace level, like I said before. And Dave Bennett, love what I saw out of Giolito. I completely agree. I think that his just command over that changeup tonight, Johnny, was absolutely incredible. There were a couple instances where Rendon and Trout kind of, put a hurt on a ball that just tailed out a little bit into left. So he was giving up some hard contact. I don't exactly like that. But everything that did get touched went foul, and on the score sheet, none of those accounted for runs. So overall, solid performance out of Lucas Giolito. The only thing I can nitpick on is maybe keep that pitch count a little bit lower. He did start reaching on a few different batters, Johnny, try and get people to chase things that were a little too far out of the zone. So I want to see that command just get a little bit better, and I think he should be completely fine throughout the rest of this year if he can just clean a little bit up.
Yeah. So as we're talking about Giolito here, I think you hit on a bunch of really good points, so no need for me to go and rehash those. One specific moment that I loved was when what you just mentioned, Trout hit that long foul ball and he smoked it. He got way out in front of it, though, obviously pulled it foul. But then Lucas Giolito comes back and wipes him out, and that was nasty. And I think that was a cool and tough moment of this game, Tony.
It was, Johnny, and that's exactly what you want to see him come back to that pitch. There was another at bat against I believe it was Trout later which resulted in a walk where Giolito was just completely outside the zone, didn't want to give him anything to hit. I mean, granted, we're talking about Lucas Giolito facing one of the best hitters in baseball. Just an excellent matchup if you're a baseball fan overall, but you still want to see Lucas Giolito try and attack the zone a little bit more there, and just have that confidence, man. Like, good pitchers are going to get touched by Mike Trout, and a lot of this is situational, but you want to see Giolito with that confidence, with the eyes he had in the first inning in his first at bat against Trout. I think there was a little bit different of a tone as the game went on, and he started to lose a little bit of that confidence is what I noticed.
Yeah, and you saw it in what happened right here and what we're going to get into there. So I think that wraps up Lucas Giolito's night here. I have no concerns about him. I think he'll be fine going forward. And this is the first game. Come on.
Yep.
Look at how he got into the groove. Fuck. I mean, I know it was against the Pirates, but he threw a no-hitter after he got into a few starts after the beginning of the season, and we got into that thing a little bit more. So I mean, get to start 4 or 5 for Lucas Giolito, and I think you will see that 7 and a third wipeout shit, like 12, 13 Ks in that level. So I'm not concerned about Lucas Giolito. Let's move on to what happened right after that, Tony, because they brought in Cody Hoyer from the pen, and this was a little bit of a close call in this 6th inning here. And that was with Trout coming up. Obviously, that is when they did decide to pull Lucas Giolito. So Hoyer comes in, and in that situation, Hoyer walked Trout, and then Rendon hit a single. So it looks like he's getting into a little bit of trouble here. And shit, like as soon as we go to the bullpen, we're going to get touched up for all that we've talked about, how great this bullpen is going to be over the offseason. But no, he does get upped into ground into a double play to Moncada. But I will say that ball was absolutely smoked. StatCast on that is 108.7 miles an hour off the bat at Moncada there.
That play that Moncada made, I mean, that's just Gold Glove shit on opening day. That's a big play in a game, and I thought at this moment when that ball was hit, that's a scorcher down the line that could end up for extra bases if Moncada doesn't get a glove on that, and then you're in a world of trouble right there. So the tone could have been set. Johnny, I was happy with that one. I had this one marked down as a defining moment for a White Sox victory. Obviously, we're not talking about that tonight, but had the Sox come out on top, this was a huge play in the game that could have broke the rest of the game in the Sox favor had they been able to hold on to this. It's not exactly what you want to see out of Cody Hoyer. I know you are a big Cody Hoyer guy.
Mhm.
You want to see him pump that gas and get those strikeouts too. But overall, I mean, that inning ends up working out very well for Tony La Russa when it comes to pulling Giolito there and getting out of it unscathed, really. But that the bullpen stuff that you talked about just a second ago, with all the praise that they've gotten so far over the offseason for assembling this, did have some scary moments right away for them, because he did have some trouble getting to that point and gets bailed out by Moncada. That's why your defense is there, though. Man, that glove, that just his ability at the hot corner is just top notch, and I don't think it's talked about enough.
Yeah, I agree, and I can't wait to see it throughout the rest of the season. So that was a close call, averted, like you said, turning point potentially. It's us talking about a White Sox winner, but at the time being, that kept this thing where it was with a 3-2 White Sox lead. So I think it's time to address the elephant in the room, Tony, and that we can go back and talk about some of the White Sox offense and missed opportunities after, but let's just get right into it, and let's cut the bullshit and go right into the 8th inning where the damage happened, where the White Sox ultimately lost the game. I'll walk you through a series of events. Give me your reaction. So Bummer is in the bottom of the 8th. Fletcher infield single bounces off of Bummer, so can't really make a play at first there. Then Ohtani reaches on a fielder's choice, and this is where a lot of criticism is probably going to come in. Goes to Madrigal, and he makes a wide throw to Tim Anderson that pulls him off the bag. If you get that double play there, man, you're looking pretty. I mean, that's nobody on to 2 outs in that inning right there, and you don't even get into the situation. What happens next? So pass ball. The ball gets by Yasmani Grandal, a ball that he absolutely should have stopped. And you know me, I love Yasmani Grandal. I'll call him out there. Absolutely should have been stopped. Unacceptable. Got to figure that out. I mean, he had, we'll go to Dave Bennett's comment here. Madrigal and Grandal did this shit in the playoff game last year. If you guys remember, they needed to get that shit on lockdown. I agree 100%, Dave Bennett. That was, the Madrigal error that opened that door in the inning against Oakland that, in the wild card series. So I agree with that. And then there were multiple instances of, kind of Grandal, it seemed, in crunch time. One time he was able to redeem himself with a walk-off home run, and then another time ended up in a loss at Pittsburgh, a walk-off loss there. So I agree that needs to be cleaned up. But as we go through the rest of these events here, after that ball gets by, Fletcher advanced to third. Trout hits an RBI single that ties this game at 3-3. Luckily, Bummer was able to strike out Rendon after that, and then Upton walks. Bummer was kind of hosed on the first pitch of that at bat, but we'll let you get to that, Tony. And then Pujols hits an RBI ground out. That's a game-winning run here. We talk about game-winning goals over at Four Feathers, game-winning runs here, game-winning hits, or RBIs here at Sox on Tap, and unfortunately, it's one for the Angels here. Bummer would come out after that, Foster in, and he gets Iglesias to ground out. That ended the inning, but damage was already done, and that would be the tail of the tape for this game. White Sox go down 1-2-3 in the 9th, and that was it. So sound off. 8th inning, Tony. I want to hear your rant.
Johnny, just hearing you talk about all of it just in succession is painful, reliving every single moment of that horrific 8th inning. And I think that we have to go back a little bit before any of that happens, where Nick Madrigal steals second base and gets called out on the play. And Tony La Russa does not challenge the call on the field. His reasoning in the postgame show was that he's only got 20 seconds to do that. By the time the relay message comes down to him, it had been somewhere around 30 seconds, so he was unable to challenge. If that's the case, number one, it is early on, but these are things that the analytics department or whoever is watching the game and relaying messages to Tony, the video coach.
Is it Duncan? Isn't it Duncan's kid?
You just gotta get that to Tony earlier. But I'm not going to make excuses for him. You can clearly see Nick Madrigal, out there thinking that he's safe. There's replay within the stadium too. I don't know how that all went down, but it was definitely a momentum shift in the game with that out at second base and Madrigal getting thrown out. Obviously you could put some of that on Madrigal because you could say like, hey, you should be clearly safe instead of, having it, questionable. But, you get into the eighth inning and everything just breaks down. Everything just breaks down. And when things are going like that, I don't know about you, Johnny, man, like I felt like the air just suck completely out of the room.
With every pitch, it felt like.
Yes. The Madrigal play right after getting called out at second, and then he throws the ball just a little bit wide to Anderson. You're just watching that, and you've got to kind of just like, as Dave Bennett just said, like we've seen this shit before. So the story just starts to write itself here. And if I've got to pin this one on anybody, Nick Madrigal did have a couple major plays in this one that just weren't up to snuff. There's been a lot on Twitter about whether or not he's as billed as he was when we drafted him. There's a lot of question marks there. The guy's got some injury concerns that have played a part in some of those things as well. But, we also do have to realize, and I'm not a Nick Madrigal guy by any means, Johnny. I think you know that. The guy has not had a full season of baseball, of Major League Baseball underneath his belt yet by any means. So there is going to be these times where you see Nick Madrigal make these mistakes. There's going to be times where you see Zach Collins make these kind of mistakes. And Zach Collins is another guy at the plate tonight in a couple of crucial spots, coming up with just, almost automatic out type shit that you don't want to see out of your DH. So I'm going to go back to some stuff that I said earlier on during the offseason. For a team that has the aspirations that they do, when you have this many question marks on the field, you can't really say the rebuild's over, Johnny, in my opinion, until you don't have multiple question marks from young guys in your lineup. So, that's just something that, we need to keep an eye on here. For a team that has World Series aspirations, you also have quite a few guys that don't have a full season of Major League Baseball under their belt, and they're going to make mistakes like this, and they're going to cost you. And, for as hyped up as we are about some of this shit, like if it were a rebuild year, if this was 2018 and it's Yohan Moncada, it might fly. But right here, right now, it doesn't. And, every game, as we've talked about before, it does matter in the standings. And this is definitely one that you want to have. And me personally, I think it's on the back of two young guys tonight. And Zach Collins just not getting it done in some situations, and Nick Madrigal making some stupid mistakes. And that one does cost you.
Yeah. With Nick Madrigal, I just want to comment and preface this with, I agree with your sentiment that, it's not even a full season here. Obviously a truncated 60-game schedule last year. And then he missed the time with injury too. So that they didn't even get him the full 60 game in there. And then obviously we're in game one here in 2021. So I want to preface this by saying I'm not giving up on Nick Madrigal. I don't hate the guy. But I think he tries a little too much, and he tries so hard to be a gamer that it affects his play when it comes to crunch time. Do you agree with that?
I could agree with that, Johnny. And I'm not a Madrigal fan either by any means. I thought that they should have went elsewhere with that pick. But, he is here now. He's your starting second baseman. Obviously, there is a pedigree there. But I've had my questions from the start. This was a college shortstop that, is a second baseman now. And he was beat out, I believe, in his senior year or junior year by an incoming freshman that was a better shortstop than him in his college program. So you're talking about a guy that a lot of people expected to be, a top defensive type player, just, making some of these mistakes, and that hurts. And I think some of that is exactly back to what you said. He's trying to do things that are just a little bit out of the realm of possibility from time to time, just trying to make that play to wind up on Sports Center, so to speak, and not just doing something defensively solid and sound, or take the safe play there. honestly, I don't think you get that double play by any means, but you at least have to get one out in that situation there in the eighth. You have to get one out.
It wouldn't have been ideal, but I could have lived with throw to first.
I could have too. And I feel like I've been dancing around that. I could have lived with the throw to first. At the time, Johnny, I will admit I would have been like, Jesus fucking Christ, why couldn't we turn a double play there?
Yeah.
Like, why can't we turn it? We'd be talking about that right now if the game ended up in the same result. I think we'd be saying, like, why didn't Nick Madrigal go for that double play right there? But at the end of the day, a ground ball to second base should result in an out no matter what.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. And it's just like guess I just go back to he's trying to be a gamer, and that's, a highly competitive guy, a really, hustle type of player, and he can show it in spurts because they're, you look at the average. I mean, hey, he's still going to hit well. I will, say that. That's why I'm not like, anti-total like Nick Madrigal. I'm just, skeptical, and I'm also along for the process too, because I do understand that, very, very limited time here. So it's not an excuse because you got to just make one out there. But I hope he learns from these sooner rather than later. I think that's my biggest takeaway from this whole eighth inning kind of meltdown here. And that was the kind of thing that kicked it off, and you would have been in a much better spot, if you had even just gotten one out there, obviously, ideally two, but would have gotten one there. So, in the ninth inning too, then Tony, when the White Sox come up to the plate, obviously not an ideal spot with my, I'm wearing the jersey right now, Luis Garcia, but not the guy I'd want up there to lead off that inning. He strikes out. Luis Robert strikes out after him, and then Collins goes after the first pitch. So I agree with you there too. At least see one more. Like, come on, like. It wasn't the old catch-up rule in high school. I know it's not always applicable if you see your pitch and you want it, but hey, the old catch-up rule is what? Take till you get a strike?
Yeah. I mean, when you're in that position in a ball game too, though, Johnny, like you're down. So, I mean, there's also that there too, but that ninth inning.
That's what the catch-up rule is for, though. Then you make the pitcher like throw like a little more and see another one, and especially since the first you guys struck out like that,
I'm just going to say that they shouldn't have even been down there. Yeah, that's the appropriate approach, but we were already down
at that point. We were already
sunk. I mean, you could feel the momentum shift right there in that eighth inning, and I kind of lost, personal hope for a comeback there. But you've already talked a little bit about the Luis Garcia thing, and I was going to ask you this because I know you're just such a big Garcia guy. There were times during this game where I was dangerously close to like tweeting out like this team misses Eloy Jimenez, or Eloy Jimenez would be up in this situation, or whatever. And you don't know what the lineup would have been with him in there.
I'd tell you the grass is green as well.
Yeah, I mean, response. That's the same thing. But you know me. I'm just trying to elicit a response. Like, I tweeted some stupid shit about Aaron Bummer tonight, and I was able to draw Jordan Lazowski and B-Sun from Sox on 35th. Great guys. I was able to draw them in again. I'm making an opening day tradition out of trying to piss them off, because I think I got them last year, Johnny. We were in the garage together for last year's opening day after Giolito gave up the first pitch home run. Yeah, I tweeted something out about like Giolito not looking great this year or whatever. I got Jordan and B-Sun in the replies. I got them both again tonight. So that one was good.
And then
that's a win for me. Win for Tony on tap right there. Just trying to get Jordan a little hot and bothered.
That's your form of it, and I love it. I can't wait and just see through the years, and maybe we can compile them. Obviously, since this is year 2 of you doing that, and we can kind of like list them and see, what the response was and what the take was about, and go back and laugh about it. Hopefully couple of years down the road when we're celebrating multiple World Series championships, and we can laugh about these instances about the journey along the way. My one was the poll in Steve's, the reply to Steve's tweet today, and that's which is worse, Trubisky truthers or Madrigal truthers, because I love that. You kind of get like the same like ilk there, and it just elicits a response. Anybody who like saw that and took any sort of like attack to that, it's first of all to elicit a response, and then second of all, I'm not giving up on Nick Madrigal. Like, that's not like I don't hate him, but I'm also going to call him out when things like that happen, and maybe just tone it down a little bit. Like, trying to be so hard to be a gamer, and take it a step back and make the routine play.
Can we just lay out a rule of thumb here? If you're listening to this, and you're new to Sox on Tap. First off, thank you for being here. But secondly, if you follow us on Twitter, like 90% of the time we're very serious, but there is a 10% of the time, which is 100% of the time for NWI Steve, who you'll hear on this show tomorrow night for the Postgame Show. I believe he's with you, Johnny.
He's with Buzz tomorrow night.
Or he's with Buzz tomorrow night. So Buzz and Steve will be on tomorrow. But if you know Steve, NWI Steve at NWI_Steve, also goes by Southside Clown Show. If you follow him during spring training, like 100% of his tweets were basically sarcastic. But yes, we do make jokes. We do make jokes. Sometimes we will slip some things out there just to elicit a response on Twitter, and they get taken a little bit too literally. And we like to see those replies because, as I said in the thread tonight, like if you don't know stress as a White Sox fan, this is the first White Sox game you've ever watched. We're all stressed out about some things. There's some really hot points that you can hit and some really hot buttons that you can press in White Sox Twitter. And it's just fun sometimes to see that response. Johnny, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, it absolutely is. And it's good because it generates banter then. And that's, things to talk about on here, things to write about, or things to just go back and forth with other fans about and get their takes about things, because it can lead to conversations about both the performance on the field, your fandom in general, who you like, who you don't, and why. So I like that too, Tony. Let's kind of get our final thoughts from this game here, from tonight's game. Obviously, sucks to lose. I hate losing, but I'm also not pressing the panic button because, the talent is there. And I think the White Sox are going to come out and win a game tomorrow, and everybody will be feeling great, to be honest with you, because that's how we go. Kind of go on a roller coaster.
If you're not on a roller coaster while you're watching a sports team or following a team through a season, Johnny, what are you doing? It's got to be fun. You got to have your ups. You got to have your downs. I'm not pissed with this loss. I could be because, granted, Johnny, if you have a loss like this in September, I think our tone's going to be a little bit different.
Absolutely.
I think our tone's going to be a little bit different. And while I do believe that every game matters, last year, a loss like this on opening day would elicit a much stronger response. But you did see some really good things tonight. You saw Luis Robert basically generate a run on his own. You saw Lucas Giolito be able to get through that first part of the game looking like an absolute stud. You saw Yohan Moncada start off what I think is going to be an MVP year caliber type season for him. Just hitting the ball hard, playing some excellent defense. There's a lot of positives to take away from this one. You never made it to your closer or some of the
what I would
call top tier shutdown options. I think if you bring in like a Garrett Crochet into this game or a Michael Kopech, Liam Hendricks, if you get to that point because you still held on to the lead, this one was going to be a little bit different. This was definitely a winnable game for the White Sox. Am I pissed off that we lost? Abso-fucking-lutely, Johnny. I'm pissed off because this was absolutely winnable. But at the same time, man, like the plan was there. It escaped them. I think Cody Hoyer was a little bit off, and Nick Madrigal made some mistakes. Gondal made some mistakes. You're going to have mistakes over the course of a full baseball season. They came early tonight, and Sox weren't able to hold on to it. It's game one. Let's not make it a pattern. That's my only thought. Let's not make this type of thing a pattern. And I think Tony La Russa is just the type of guy who can go back to the clubhouse, dissect what happened, and spread that type of knowledge and get the buy-in to avoid this from becoming a pattern.
Yep. No, I agree with you. And then also just a couple of points that you never got to a point of like offense rolling. So first of all, it's going to take a little bit. That's going to, take some for the bats to get going against, in real time, shit that matters. I think it goes for any team. It's not just the White Sox. Any team can have that, but you only had, you were 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. So there's my opportunistic sort of thing there, but you're going to have more of those opportunities as you get rolling a little bit more, as the lineup starts to generate some momentum going forward. So I'm with you, not calling this the end of the world, anything like that. Sucks to lose, always does. Win or die trying. That's the grinder rule. Old grinder rule that we'll bring out plenty of times here on the show. But I'm with you, and I think we can put this one to rest. It sucks. We know which mistakes were made. We know who made them, and need to clean that up. And let's get into the next game preview. So it's right back at it against these Angels. Weird start times, Tony. 8:38 p.m. Central Time start. So it'll be on NBC Sports Chicago tomorrow night. It'll be Andrew Haney, a lefty for the Angels. He was 4-3, 4.46 ERA last year, and Dallas Keuchel is a fear the beard time, Tony, for the White Sox, and he was excellent last year for the Sox. 6-2, 1.99 ERA over that 2020 shortened campaign. So, what are we expecting from tomorrow's game?
I want to see Dallas Keuchel just absolutely command this team, and obviously this Angels lineup is dangerous. You've got Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, and Anthony Rendon in the middle of this lineup, and that doesn't do any pitcher any favors. But if Dallas Keuchel can come out here, throw 5-6 solid innings, the White Sox offense can pick him up early and give him a little bit of a lead to play with. I want to see that plan that almost became what we saw tonight, where you can go to that bullpen and shorten the game a little bit here. That's what I want to see. I want to see the A guys in the bullpen tomorrow night close this one down. I think that's going to be your key to the game, is you get that A team out in the bullpen, pitch with the lead, game over. And I think that's just the recipe for success for the White Sox this year. Your starting pitcher should be coming out of the game with the lead, and the bullpen should be able to shut it down. And obviously we didn't see that tonight, but I definitely think, Johnny, we're going to see that more often than not this year.
Yeah. So my key to the game is going to be offense and getting the offense going early. You had mentioned that as well, but I think it is pertinent because not putting stock into spring training, the Steve joke style that he has been doing all throughout the end of February through the month of March up until opening day here. But the offense needs to get going because Dallas Keuchel was a little bit behind all of these other guys when you're talking about starting pitchers and getting going through spring training. So not saying that Dallas Keuchel is going to have a bad outing by any means, but you can help him out by supporting him with runs early. So getting the offense going early, getting the sticks going, you got a lefty on there. So that'll mean Andrew Vaughn. Tony Lewis already told us that even before tonight. It was yesterday that he told us that Andrew Vaughn will be in the lineup DHing on Friday night. So you will see that, get your first look at him in the show. It'll be interesting to see what he does. But either way, other guys, I mean, you talk about Jose Abreu. He did have one hit tonight. It was the first White Sox hit, but he struck out twice. That's not MVP-to shit. And as soon as he gets back to his MVP-to shit, I think this whole thing can kind of go, be a little bit more catalyst. And you talk about catalyst, Tim Anderson at the top too. Yes, he had one hit as well tonight, also struck out twice. But, think about a guy like him getting going, and that's the straw that stirs the drink, as NWI Steve likes to say. So offense, huge. That's going to be my key for tomorrow's game. Pick to click. Go for it.
Pick to click Tim Anderson right off the bat there, Johnny. I think that you spelled it out nicely, and that's the one thing that I wanted to say, man, is the White Sox offense has so many different options just within this arsenal. If you get 2 or 3 out of these guys hot, you're going to see some great things. You already saw Luis Robert kind of take control of an entire inning. It's just so dangerous over and over again. Tim Anderson is the same type of player who can take over an inning. So is Yohan Moncada. You've got so many weapons. Let's get a few of them hot early, Johnny, and things can be really, really good for this team.
Yeah. So obviously our switch hitters will be turned around because of a lefty on the mound in Haney tomorrow night. So I'm going to go with a righty, and the guy that I just mentioned, your MVP, Jose Abreu. Steve picked in the night, said he's going to take Dylan Bundy deep. Let's hope that is the case tomorrow night. Friday night. We're already in Friday here, 1:13 a.m. on early hours, scary hours, as I would call them, Tony. So
scary hours.
Yeah, we're in scary hours right now, but I'll go with Jose Abreu. I like that. The Tim Anderson pick from you at the top. Those two get rolling. I think we should be talking about a White Sox winner as long as you get just sufficient from Dallas Keuchel. You don't need outstanding. I think you can get sufficient as long as the offense goes up. That is the contingent key. That's our final preview for Friday night's game. Once again, 8:38 p.m. Central Time start. So get your beers and you use hashtag Crack'em, tag at Sox on Tap, post a picture of you watching the game, drinking a beer. If you have an on tap koozie, use it, whatever you got, show us it. We want to be with you. Since we can't be together, obviously, at a bar or anything right now. Well, we could, but we don't have a meetup planned or anything like that. So we want to see, do it on social media. Koozie. Everybody together, we'll crack them together. And so that means if we win, we'll be having victory beers like we do on Four Feathers, Tony. And if we lose, we'll just be drowning our sorrows once again. Actually, NWI Steve and Buzz will be on here drowning their sorrows if that's the case. So I've blown enough hot air for tonight. I think it's almost time to get out of here. But once again, this episode was presented by Grandstand. Make sure you're going to grandstandsox.com and following them at grandstand_Sox on social media. You can see all their posts. They have so much dope White Sox gear, stuff that you probably would not even imagine is available. I saw throwback 1932 logo hats. It's really cool stuff. So go and check out Grandstand. They are partners with Sox on Tap for the 2021 season. So we thank everybody for tuning in. All the night owls who stayed up late and talked with us here, chatted. We always appreciate you. So thank you for doing that. And Steve and Buzz will be back to run this thing back tomorrow night. So Tony, final words, and then let's get the hell out of here.
Final words, man. It's great to be back doing Sox on Tap post games, Johnny. Happy opening day. I guess it's past opening day now, but opening day, make it a national holiday next year, please. I'm going to say that every year until it happens. But, I'm pretty happy that we got to get back here, talk White Sox baseball, drink some beers, do this show despite the outcome. We'll be back at this all season. We might not be live every night, but you can find us wherever you can find podcasts at Sox on Tap, doing this post-game shows and some extended shows with guests, some other shows where we just break down general White Sox topics throughout the season. Johnny, I think it's going to be a fun year. We're going to have all these post-game shows too, man. So just we normally do a shout out. So shout out to everybody who tunes into this. I don't know if you have one, but this is going to be a great year.
Yeah, it is going to be a fun year, Tony. I'm looking forward to it. My shout out, since you asked, is Scott Garcia. I love that, he's a Southern California boy himself. So he was out there. He was at the game tonight. I saw him walking towards the stadium. He had his kid in the stroller. It was awesome, bumping my ballpark mix, which is just so cool to see. I love seeing stuff like that when that can reach White Sox fans all over the place, not just, right here, who I've sent it to in Chicagoland. It's put it out there, and people that are White Sox fans in Southern California are bumping it, and they're there in attendance for the White Sox first game of the season. So go and check my pin tweet too, at Nani Johnny pin tweet. You can get a full mix, ballpark mix. It has White Sox sound bites with a bunch of tailgate pop-up songs. So that'll get you jacked up, get you nice and riled up, liquored up for Diamond Dallas Keuchel Day tomorrow on Friday. Tony, that's all. Let's close it out. 3 magic words.
White Sox forever, Johnny.
White Sox forever.